morning, members of the press. Good morning, Bermuda. Here we are once again to talk to you about various aspects of the Bermuda economy. This morning, I am joined on my left by Nick Kemp, our candidate for constituency 18, Pembroke West Central. On my right, I'm joined by Andrea Moniz de Souza, who's our candidate from constituency 3, St. David's. Together, we're going to make a few remarks of the economy and how it supports us and moves things forward. This is the third time that I've stood before you, the media that is, in this election. The reason for that is because the economy is the most important issue for the people of Bermuda. I say that because the economy is fundamental to so much we need as individuals, in our day-to-day lives, day-to-day and year-to-year. A strong economy generates jobs, business, and opportunities we need to grow. A strong, well-managed economy generates the resources we need to support people who need support and to live together as a community. We have seen the damage a poorly managed economy can cause. And we've seen how difficult it is to repair that damage. So I am here today to explain the OBA's approach to managing the economy so that it works for as many Bermudians as possible. Our core strategy remains the same, in place as it is right now, which is to follow the two-track plan to stimulate economic growth and to restore health to our public finances. In doing so, I will identify 6 areas of activity that we will pursue through 2017 and into the next financial and political season. First, capital attraction. Bermuda needs capital to survive, and the capital we need must come primarily from overseas. Investment capital is needed for hotel construction and operation. For government operations, particularly so long as we are running a deficit, as well as infrastructure for new exempted companies, and that's particularly true with insurance. Insurance is very capital intensive, and for new businesses generally in Bermuda. Before you can start to grow jobs, you need capital first. It's the lifeblood of the economy. So for jobs to be created, Bermuda must be investment friendly. In the event that we are elected on Tuesday, the OBA government will continue its efforts to attract capital, whether it is for government projects or to support efforts to grow private sectors of our economy. The Bermuda Business Development Corporation, or known as BDA, is a joint venture between government and the private sector that was created to help sell Bermuda to potential investors. The aim is to grow the level of economic activity. Why? Because it grows jobs, opens career opportunities, and creates earnings that make it possible for the government to provide social services, build roads, and educate children. In my review of the PLP platform, I noticed that they were tinkering with the idea of price controls. There's a lot I could say about price controls and its history of failure wherever it has been used. But in terms of Bermuda, the problem with price controls has to do with investment capital. Price controls would be a significant inhibitor of the inflow of investment capital. Point number 2, driving the restoration for tourism. The revival of Bermuda tourism is arguably the greatest single accomplishment of the OBA's first term. Our turnaround has been steady, constant, and now sustainable, despite the original withering criticism. We want to keep it going. 2 pieces of legislation are going to help that happen. The first is the Tourism Investment Act, which is ready to be put before Parliament. This legislation will equip us to attract investment to strengthen all aspects of Bermuda's tourism product: hotels, restaurants, small business properties, and other tourism-related attractions, keeping us competitive and ahead of other jurisdictions. We have to always remember that we're in a very competitive arena in the area of tourism. The second piece of legislation is the Vacation Rental Act, which is designed primarily to capitalize on the Airbnb opportunity. This initiative is a game changer in two big ways. The first is that we will make Bermuda attractive to people who can't afford to stay at a $600 a night hotel, expanding our visitor market, broadening our appeal. Second, it's going to make it possible for homeowners to earn money through Airbnb rentals. The PLP have indicated that they will tax rental income. People can have our assurance that we won't tax that. 3, infrastructure rebuild. We're going to continue to build the 21st century Bermuda. And that means taking the opportunities that come our way to rebuild infrastructure. We started with the airport redevelopment project, which is hiring more and more Bermudians each week. I think there's something in the paper about that today. And we will next turn our focus to the Causeway. Improving government finances, our adherence to best practices, and our hard-won reputation for consummating innovative P3 deals will make this possible. 4, balanced budget. After 4 years of hard work and tough decisions, we are on track to balance the budget in fiscal year 2018-19. That is an important milestone, enabling us, finally, to start paying down the debt and free up monies to support existing or new programs. Achieving a balanced budget is going to enhance our reputation in capital markets, enable continuing growth, and build our capacity to afford the national agenda in the years ahead, however it shapes up. The journey to a balanced budget is not yet finished. The government deficit is still with us, and a lot of work remains to be done. In short, the job is not done yet, and the OBA needs voter support to finish it. 5, fair tax reform. Earlier this year, the OBA government cut taxes on everyone earning less than $137,000 a year. It marked the first of 2 payroll tax cuts and realignments that will bring relief to thousands of Bermudians. What is particularly important about the payroll tax reform is that it introduces the principle of fairness into our taxation system, a system that has never been fair to lower income workers. We're proud to be the ones to have initiated this. These progressive reforms, in short, will require more from those who earn more and less from those who earn less. Advancing the principle of fairness will factor into all our decisions on the public purse. 6, defending the island. The last point I want to make here is our commitment to protect Bermuda. In recent years, we've had to face down outside forces that threaten to dismantle the way we do business with the rest of the world. The threats have emanated primarily from European countries, the European Union, as well as the British Parliament. Each time we have succeeded in turning back threats, but such is the nature of these outside forces that they reform and jump back at us time and again. All it takes is one failure on our part for Bermuda to suffer serious damage to our reputation, our integrity, and our ability to conduct business. The stakes for Bermudians could not be greater. Our very existence as a bustling economy supporting Bermudian life as we know it is endangered by these threats. We will continue to fight these unjust attacks. Now I'll turn the microphone over to Nick Kemp. Nick.
Minister. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done within the entrepreneurial and small business part of the economy, as kind of with my BEDC hat on. I'm very proud of the work we've done to ensure both access to capital and establishing a pathway of education to mitigate failure within the startup environment. Microloans were something that was introduced to ensure that small businesses could get cash within 10 working days for those startup ventures. It plays along with the bootstrapping approach we've been advocating through the Ice House program that was introduced 2 or 3 years ago. And that was trying to set up and empower businesses with the knowledge of a flexible cost structure so that they could adapt to meet the demand without necessarily tying themselves into a lot of long-term debt and fixed expenses. So access and education are certainly two key themes both within the BDC and with the government's educational and empowerment platforms as we've gone forwards. One thing about the BDC that struck me when I saw the opposition's platform, and which I clearly disagree with the opposition leader on, is the challenges that face small businesses with accessing capital. Right now, the BDC has capacity to give out loan guarantees to support loans, and we're not at capacity presently. So doubling the capacity might sound like you're doing something to help small business, but unfortunately, it really will have zero effect unless you're giving support in other directions. And this was information that was available in the budget brief, so it's not like it's any large secret. Anyhow, on that note, I'll pass it over to Andrea. Cheers.
I'd like to introduce Andrea Monas de Souza. For the first time, we have a candidate that is totally bilingual, and she will speak to the Portuguese community in Portuguese and also tell you what she said to the Portuguese community in English. So, Andrea.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning, everyone. Bom dia, as we would say in Portuguese.
Bom dia.
Bom dia. A economia é vital para a nossa vida diária. Nós precisamos de uma economia que está a crescer, é estável e justa, porque as pessoas apoiar as suas famílias no centro de escolas, em casa e na comunidade. Sou uma candidata para o OBA nestas eleições porque considero a equipa económica do OBA, liderada pelo Ministro das Finanças Richards, vão tomar decisões certas e criar medidas que são tomadas para continuar a crescer a nossa economia de maneiras que cresçam empregos e salários para toda a comunidade. Sabemos que a nossa economia em mãos erradas pode tornar uma vida muito difícil. Então hoje estou aqui para dizer que estas eleições são sobre o uso do seu voto e apoiar a equipa que irá tornar a economia forte para vós e para as suas famílias. Como uma advogada e representante da comunidade portuguesa na Bermuda, tenho visto o OBA tomar uma situação ruim em 2012 com a economia e torná-la melhor. E penso que o OBA vai continuar o seu bom trabalho para vós e para as suas famílias. É por isso que me tornei candidata com o OBA, porque quero que a Bermuda avance em conjunto para a frente e não para trás. O Sr. Richards e a nossa equipa são a escolha segura nestas eleições, e é por isso que estou falando com vocês hoje. Muito obrigada e continuação de bom dia. So the rest of you know what I'm saying. The economy is vital to our lives. We need a growing, stable, and fair economy because it helps provide support to our families in school, in the home, and in the community. I'm a candidate for the OBA in this election because I believe its economic team, led by the Finance Minister Richards, will make sure the right policies and decisions are made to continue to grow the economy in ways that grow jobs, paychecks for everyone. We know that in the wrong hands, the economy can make life very difficult for people. So I'm here today to say that this election is about your vote to support the team that will make the economy strong for you and your families. As a Bermudian and as a lawyer, and as a representative of the Portuguese community in Bermuda, I have watched the OBA take a bad situation with the economy in 2012 and make it better. And I believe that the OBA will continue their good work for you and your families. That is why I became a candidate, because I want Bermuda to move forward, not back. Mr. Richards and our team are the safe hands choice in this election, and that is why I'm speaking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
Richards, could you bring us up to date on the European questionnaire? Do we make the deadline and do we put our point across?
Yes, we made the deadline, and all of the questions we were able to answer. There are a number of sort of different layers to our response and to the issues themselves. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat this morning. And I think we've covered those layers. There are legal issues with the questions. There are technical issues with the questions, and of course, there's a sort of political overlay on top of that. And we have used all of our resources to answer that questionnaire as completely as possible. And I think, as I said before, this really marks the beginning of a campaign as opposed to the end. If things go as well as we would like them to go on Tuesday, I will be over to Europe shortly after the next election to continue with the campaign that we need to prosecute with various leaders in Europe to make sure that Bermuda's interest is protected.
So it hasn't gone away.
No, it has not gone away.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Richards.
Yes, Sarah.
In the last run-up to the last election, one of the big promises was surrounded around jobs, basically 2,000 jobs. Does the OBA have any projections for how many jobs might be created in the next administration going forward?
No, we don't have any numerical projections. What we are promising now is the continuation of a plan that is working. We know the elements that make the economy tick, and we are making sure that we stimulate those elements that create jobs. As I mentioned in my formal remarks, you cannot create jobs unless you attract capital. We're doing that, and it's obvious for everyone to see. And as we translate that capital into jobs, more and more jobs will be created.
And is there any update you could give us on the St. George's Hotel?
Mr. Johnson, I would like to be able to see the questioner. Thank you.
The hotel in St. George's, is there any update you can provide?
I don't think we have any more information. Certainly, it is on track. The public works that are required for the start are continuing, and the developers are committed, as they have not only told us as a government, but they've actually directly spoken to the people of St. George's and told them that, that they're committed to getting this project finished.
Yeah, I have a question.
Running up from the boundary?
Sorry?
You're running up from the boundary?
I noticed you said something about the PLP talks about taxing rents. This is a narrative that's been going on for a while now, coming from the OBA. But when we look at the budget reply and the platform, there's no policy proposal saying they're going to tax rents.
No, I beg to differ. I think there is policy proposed that they're going to tax rent. They're talking about broadening their tax base, and they're looking at taxing rent.
Yeah, they talk, I'm going to quote you what they say, is tax reform and broadening the tax base cannot be effective if they are unwilling to look at taxing the passive income of privileged persons in society.
Right.
So that's the exact quote, that's
Right.
what they say.
So what do you think passive income is? Rent is passive income.
Well,
Passive
there's-
income,
there's-
well,
They haven't said
okay,
rents.
well,
I
let
mean,
me
that's-
help you out, okay? The difference between active income and passive income is clear. Like, payroll taxes are taxes on on active income. You work, and that is, it's a tax on remuneration from labor. Passive income is taxes on income from assets. So
And it includes a number of categories.
so assets, right, which include shares, so it will be a tax on dividends, savings, be a tax on interest, and rents, which would be a tax on property ownership, earnings from property. So that's how we get to that.
Well, the PLP has actually clarified that they don't intend to go and tax rents, and, you know, I just want to be clear.
No,
want
I
to
think in
understand.
the budget debate, they clearly said they're gonna tax income on rents. I think they were talking about rents on commercial properties, but I think once you open that door, it's clear that that door, that's the thin edge of the wedge to tax rents of all types.
So you
We're
won't-
not
you
gonna
won't-
do that.
You won't tax any passive income, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
All right, but you will reform the tax system so that those who have more will pay more.
Yes, we have reformed the payroll tax system so that high earners are gonna pay more, big companies are gonna pay more, and we are also taxing services to broaden the tax base, which we agree that the tax base needs to be broadened. We are taxing, we've already implemented taxes on financial institutions. We have a financial services tax, which I introduced in the last budget. And I've also introduced the concept of having a tax on services. That is to be implemented next year. So that's how we are broadening the tax base. We're not taxing passive income.
Are you now satisfied, because I seem to recall a few years ago, your view that the PLP's handling of the economy was the reason why it was in such bad shape. You know, I see the language on your poster there says it was it talks about a global financial crisis. Are you riding the wave of the recovery of the crisis, or is this really all about your economic policies?
Well, as I said many times, the measure of the captain is how he handles the ship in a storm, not how he handles the ship in calm weather. The storm occurred, so how did the other team handle the ship? Well, they handled the ship very badly. And all of the passengers on the ship, i.e. the rest of us Bermudians, suffered. Now, we inherited a ship that was in a storm, but we managed to navigate it out of that storm. And yes, the waters are calmer than they were internationally, but many of the policies of the former government prolonged the recession in Bermuda. And that recession that we inherited, we had to manage ourselves and navigate ourselves out of. So it's the measure of the skipper in a storm that counts,